Hi everyone, I am Lara Bascadis and I am here today to discuss to you the developing of instructional plan for physical education and health. But first, let us know what is the objectives of our lesson. Objectives. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to define the meaning of lesson plan. And on the number 2, discuss the importance of lesson plan in teaching physical education and health. Number 3, identify the different parts of the lesson plan. And for the last, evaluate the sample lesson plan. Introduction. To achieve objectives and long-term goals, an individual should make a plan. A plan will serve as a guide for any individual to fully understand the nature of the undertaking, set priorities and targets, stay oriented, identify available and required resources, foresee possible problems to occur, save time, and fulfill deadlines. Without proper planning, the risk of not completing the task is possible. Teachers are not excused from making plans. One of the major roles of teachers is to prepare an everyday lesson that requires careful and systematic planning. Having a plan will help teachers identify the intended objectives as well as the appropriate instructional materials needed to achieve the objectives. Further, it will help teachers decide on the assessment tool to be used in identifying the progress of children. The success of the learning process depends on how systematically it was prepared and how creative the teacher was in his or her strategy. The key aim of planning is to increase the efficacy and quality of the teaching and learning process. So what is lesson plan? A lesson plan is a concise summary of the course instruction by the teacher. It is considered the learning direction of a lesson. It is a strategy devised by a teacher to guide the learning of a class. Such specifics can differ depending on the teacher's preferences, the topics covered, and the pupil's needs. The teacher, as the matter of planning, needs to identify the important points of a lesson arranged to be presented to the pupils. A well-planned lesson is important in making the learning process significant because it enables the teacher to identify the important events that will lead to success in the implementation of the lesson. Further, it will help teachers focus on the important skills that pupils need to learn and acquire. So here are the advantages of lesson planning. Number 1, it promotes self-confidence in the teacher. Number 2, it helps the teacher to keep track as the sequence of the lessons. Number 3, it allows the teacher to reflect and improve his or her teaching for the future. Number 4, it keeps teaching matters organized in a time frame. Number 5, it helps the teacher to consider the characteristics of pupils in the preparation of activities. Number 6, it provides an opportunity for the teacher to anticipate possible problem in the execution of the lesson. Number 7, it inspires the teacher to formulate and ask relevant questions. Number 8, it allows the teacher to collect, create, and utilize the appropriate material for the learning process. And for the 9, it helps the teacher evaluate the teaching learning process. Number 10, it guides teachers to assess if the learning objectives is achieved. And here are the disadvantages of lesson planning. Number 1, it does allow the teacher to work independently and it compromises flexibility. Number 2, it makes simple matters complicated. Number 3, it allows the possibility of making the teaching process challenging. So here are the elements of lesson planning. Number 1, learning objectives. Number 2, activities. And the number 3, assessment tool. Number 1, learning objectives. The teacher should determine the learning objectives that he or she wants to achieve. Determining the objectives can be done based on the attributes of the pupils and what is stated in the curriculum. In establishing objectives, a teacher should reflect and rank the concept based on their importance. Number 2, activities. These are the learning experiences provided by the teacher. A variety of activities will enable the teachers to have a thorough explanation of the concept being taught, and using different activities can reach a wide range of learning styles. Activities to be prepared and offered to the pupils must be fun, engaging, enjoyable, and relatable to a real-world situation. Number 3, assessment tool. Assessment is an important part of the lesson plan for both the teacher and the pupils. This helps teacher identify the progress of the pupils. Appropriate assessment tools must be properly selected by the teacher to evaluate what is needed to be evaluated. Also, assessment can be used by the teachers to determine the strengths and the weaknesses of the teaching process through teachers' reflection. Lesson plan and its part. Number 1. Setting the objectives. The first step that a teacher should do is to identify the learning objectives. The objectives will serve as the roadmap to the teacher on what the pupil must learn and the skills to be developed at the end of the lesson. The stated objectives should be anchored on the 3 domains that needs to be developed: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. The teacher can use available taxonomy in creating specific, measurable, attainable result-oriented, and time-bounded objectives. For the number 2, stating the subject matter. This part involves the content and concept that the teacher has to present to the class. Other elements of this part include reference, materials, and skill. Stating the difference used is important to validate the concept that is involved in the lessons. Furthermore, a teacher must use materials that are appropriate and can motivate the pupils. For the number 3, procedure. This part is considered as the body of the lesson plan. The subparts of the procedures are the following. Number 1, a preliminary activities. This is the daily routine of the class. It includes greetings, prayers, checking of attendance, community songs, and other activities that establish rapport between the teachers and pupils. Letter B, review. This part serves as an activity check if the pupils can recall what they have learned in the past lesson. Letter C, motivation. This is the part where the teacher provides active that will arouse the pupils' interest or an activity that is connected to the present lesson. In motivation, teachers can use songs, stories, plans, games, or presenting pictures, videos, puzzles, raising intriguing questions. Letter D, presentation. The teacher presents a new lesson by stating a linking statement between the motor activity and its relevance to the lessons to be discussed. Discussion. This is the most essential part of the procedures where the teacher asks quality questions that enable the pupils to come up with the expected concepts. The teacher may use either the inductive or deductive methods when presenting the lesson by giving questions. Letter F, generalization. This part is where the pupils give the concepts of the lesson in the form of a statement. Since the entire information gained should be recapitulated and given emphasis, this phase requires critical thought. Letter G, application. The teacher gives an activity wherein the pupils can apply what they have learned from the lessons. Teachers may use varied activities such as making experiments, projects, collaborative work, or activities concerning multiple intelligence and others. And for the number 4, we have the evaluation. The teacher gives an assessment based on the concept learned. This is a way of evaluating the process of children and how much they understood the lesson. Essential information is given to teachers through the use of evaluation. Through using appropriate classroom assessment strategies and techniques, teachers can increase their pupils' motivation and show them how well they have learned the language. And for the last, we have the assignment. The assignment is an activity that pupils need to do after class at their home. It aims to help reinforce what they have learned inside the classroom or to gather other information beyond what was taught in the class. And that's for today. Thank you for watching.